Hey guys, it's Carrie with Contagious Living here, and I have something special to share with you. So, I was assaulted in June of 2019, and although that's not the focus of this talk, this book very much is the focus of this talk. This book is called Walking in the Dark by Steve Mickel or Mickel, I'm not quite sure. He is a writer out of Bend, Oregon, and I believe he is the pastor of a church. Trusting God when life happens. So, two things. When people are hurting in your life, I know I'm guilty of this many times where I don't know that I feel a sense of maybe an invite to come in and help people or talk to people or just share or listen until they've asked me. And oftentimes when people are wounded and we're wounded to the level where we've been assaulted or there's a death or even mental illness, we don't really take the time to ask somebody to come in and help and share and be part of the journey with us because we're hurting and we don't feel maybe worthy. So I want to share this little contagious story and just let you kind of see how this plays out. My son, Chase, who is the middle child and the quietest of the four, and who's recently married to his wife, Megan, they went and saw the speaker when he came back to the church at the Westside Church in Bend, Oregon, for the first time after everything he's writing about in this book, which is a lot of loss in his life. They saw him speak for the first time when he came back, and obviously must have been launching or promoting this book, and they bought the book. And they gave this book to me as a gift. And I want to share that that was a beautiful way for my son to just, he didn't have to have a lot of words. He didn't have to step into a super fearful space for him, which is, hey, Mom, I understand that you were hurt and I just want to show you that I'm there. He just merely gave me this book and said, hey, Mom, Megan and I saw this book and we met the author and he was really, really good. And we just thought this might be a really good book for you. And Megan said, right now. So I got the hint in love and grace from them that this would be a good book for me to read. So I started reading this book in July, so a month later. And it's now 7-8 months later. I'm doing really well. But I wanted to share with you, there's a couple excerpts in this book that I thought that we could talk about. And there was a space in here that I read about, and I've been writing lots of little yellow notes in here, reminding myself to share these with people that I love and with you guys. And oh, where is it? If I was really, really cool, I'd have this all marked off already. But there was just a different perspective that I read in here. And this book is a lot about, well, I'll give you the gist of it. It's a true story about this pastor, and he had a son named Chase. Now, I don't know if you're paying attention, but the son that gave me this book, his name is Chase. And his son Chase passed away suddenly in a car accident in the summer when he was off going to start a new job in Oregon. And both the parents worked in ministry at this big church in Bend, Oregon, and some people arrived at the church to give them that news that every parent dreads, that their son had passed away. And this story is so remarkable in the way that the author Steve takes you to his depths of his grief. But he was also supposed to be this amazing man of God, of faith, of knowledge, of the belief, the faith, and the religious, legalistic aspects of running a church and everything. You really put yourself out there for everybody to see and watch. And I don't know about you, but my heart just goes to a space of, how do you get to mourn and grieve and show anger towards God when you're the pastor, when you're the leader, when you're leading the flock? And he shares very deeply every bit of anguish that he felt towards the Lord, even moments of wondering, is all this real, or is this something that a church made me believe in? And So he really writes this book from great depth. I think I just found my space. So I wrote in here to share this. So I'm going to read this a little bit to you guys. Many times in life, we are brought to the intersection of hope and uncertainty. In the weeks and months after Chase's death, I was broken, desperate, and blind. I didn't know what was next. I didn't know if I could make it through. I wrestled with my faith. I wrestled with trust. And I wrestled with questions like, does God love me? Was it all true? Was it all just a big sham? Was it all something the church shoved down my throat since I was a kid and not real after all? He says, this is what it felt like after Chase died. All I heard was silence. So where do I go? And when I read this, what I thought about is, wow, a man of God, which is where we go when we are questioning ourselves, looking for our own truth, and we need another human to help us relate in regards to everything in our life and our existence, and how real is our faith, and is it worth investing in? And here's a man who lost his son, and he shares in this story how many opportunities in life that they've had sorrow and death at the depths of just things we don't even want to think about and deal with. And he still finds a way to bring God into his life and show you and me as the reader how he was able to hold on to God, but merely in the end, God was holding on to him. And if you're a person that doesn't have a faith, or maybe not a specific faith, or maybe a personal relationship with your faith, some people just believe in being good in the universe. Other people have a faith in something. No matter what it is, I think this book could really, really help you. And when we talk about contagious living, we talk about contagious living is always going big, always going deep. Really, really, researching things. Don't just take somebody's word for it. Find out for yourself. That's contagious learning. That's contagious living in so many other ways that I always talk about. Right in this book, he talks about the 3 C's in here. It's just phenomenal. And I wanted to share, he talks about, is God capable? Is God capable? In business, I see this all the time. Is the leader capable of teaching? Is the leader capable of being consistent? Capable of showing you proof of the action they're asking you to do? Well, Steve Mickel asks you, is God capable of those very same things? And throughout the read, you really learn that God is. He's capable, he's consistent, and most of all in this book, he's committed. And what I love about this book with Steve and the fact that he's a pastor is he's capable of showing you his faith in God as a real human who's had his child taken away from him and what that feels like. And there's a lot of other tragedy that happens in his life along the way that you just think, wow, is this guy like the modern day Job? He's just tested and tested and tested. But you find out that he's committed because he sees that Christ was committed in his life. And his commitment shows up in this book. Both show up in this book. Christ's love for him and Steve's commitment to you as a pastor. Because he shows you that he's committed to teaching you the word and teaching you the faith. And he's willing to walk through this life with you in your journey with you. So I just want to say thank you to Chase and Megan for being brave and sharing their love for me and helping me through a time that was, a tough one in my life, and every day still is, but it's getting less and less because I'm committed to my faith. I'm committed to showing up in my own life and doing the work. I'm committed to forgiving and recovery. So I wanted to share this book with you guys because I've never met the author. We have no connections or anything. I just really firmly believe that this book is a contagious way to get committed to yourself and your life and your faith and figure out what it looks like for you, and then be consistent and just go with it. So that's my little contagious living message for you today. If you're walking in the dark, there is light, and I want to help you find it.